Welcome back to Q&A Anime. You're here with Kadir and Akil, and today we're here to make a webtoon recommendation for the series Omniscient Reader.
Yes, that is right. So make sure to like, subscribe, hit the bell for notifications and updates. And without further ado, let's get into it.
Yes, for those of you who have already read the series Soul Leveling, you're not going to want to miss out on this gem of a series because it's very similar to the high-paced action scenes we're used to. It's just that the main character gets around a little bit differently.
Yes, the original author of this work, according to Webtoon, is Sing and Song, and it was adapted by Umi. The artwork is done by Sleep C. And I know these sound like a bunch of weird Reddit names, but I assure you we looked this up beforehand. And it's actually kind of funny because this is a series that follows a series, because the main character, Dokja Kim, is reading a series called 3 Ways to Survive the Apocalypse, and the series has 3,149 chapters. I wish. Let me just say, I wish a series had that many chapters. And it has been running for over 10 years in his world, of which he's the only person to have read it in its entirety.
That's right. So the series had a big following at the beginning of its tenure, but fell off heavy. And strangely enough, the author kept on going. So Dokja gets an email from the author thanking him for reading, and then sends him his own copy of the entire series. Then Dokja's like, what is this for? Well, the reason for that is because it's just about to get real. The series starts becoming Earth's reality.
Yes, and that sounds crazy, but specifically the message that Dokja gets is, thanks to you, I was able to finish my story. I also won a prize in the contest. And he responds, congratulations, but what kind of contest? It's not a big contest, so you wouldn't have heard of it. Oh, and the series will become paid content soon. Starting with the epilogue today, TSA will become paid content. As a token of my gratitude, I would like to send you a special present. Could you tell me your email address? And he asks a present, and then the person responds, after all, I was able to publish my story thanks to you. And Dokja gives the email address, and eventually he checks and he sees that it actually did show up in his email address. It was a present.
Yes. And then the email says, Mr. Dokja Kim, starting at 7 p.m. today, 3 Ways to Survive an Apocalypse will become paid content. This will help you. Wish you all the best. So Dokja really doesn't have any idea what that means, but when 7 p.m. hits, everyone on Earth, everyone on the planet hears this message. It says, the free service of the 8,612 planetary system has come to an end, and that the main scenario would now begin. So Dokja is just now realizing what's about to happen, and it makes for a great series.
Yeah, especially just from like the first scene after like everyone on Earth hears this message. From that first scene alone, if you can tell that this series is going to be phenomenal. You already see what kind of character Dokja is going to be, and it's so incredible to just watch as he grows and progresses, and you kind of see where exactly he's planning on doing, since he's the only person who really knows exactly how things can turn out, you know?
Yeah.
And another reason I think that Soul Leveling fans will really like this series is because it goes from 0 to 100 pretty fast, and the character progressions are fast as well. And of course, there's more action that we know what to do with, and that's always a big plus.
Yes, Akil told me to read this after Soul Leveling ended, and I caught up to all the free releases in about 2.5 days. The most recent free chapter release was chapter 91, and they're dealing with a pretty powerful enemy, but the enemy hasn't reached their end stage yet, which I think is, gotta give it time to build, gotta give it time to marinate. I think what gets me about this series is that the characters are often at odds with their humanity and their morals. So people who up till now were living normal lives now have to play games that force them to kill each other. There are monsters, constellations, which are kind of like these god entities, stats. Life is basically like one big RPG, but if the RPG was Dark Souls. So if you've played, you know how unforgiving it is. And the whole time, since he's the only person with a copy of the story and doesn't want anyone else to know, he's kind of deceiving the people that are putting their lives in his hands. Because you'll see he'll find a crew, they ask him, like, how do you know all this stuff? And he's just like, I'm just pretty creative. But as he says, he's a reader and not a protagonist. And that's a very important distinction for the main character of the series, because he makes some decisions that we'll sometimes agree with and ones that kind of go against, like, at least my moral standing.
Yeah, but listen, if Docha is a reader, he definitely shows just how strong readers can be, because seeing him deal with the scenarios using his prior knowledge is always really dope. And the story stays interesting because his actions are constantly changing the future in both subtle and big ways. And Docha is so crafty and he's a quick thinker, so combined with everything he knows about this world that's brand new and unfamiliar to most people, he really shines in unconventional but amazing ways.
And that should be the reason why you guys give this series a chance. Even just reading the first chapter, I think you guys would be interested in seeing what happens, because he's on a subway reading TWSA, and then stuff starts popping off. Like, imagine the inconvenience of having a mission assigned to you while you're coming home after a long day of work. That about wraps up this video. This is just a quick recommendation, and we're gonna do more videos like this in the future, just so you guys are aware of what's popular and what we're following. Anything else to add, Akil?
Yeah, I have plenty of webtoons. We both will probably have plenty of webtoons that we can talk about. So if you enjoy stuff like this, make sure to leave a like, leave some comments down below. If you are a fan of Omniscient Reader, if you check it out and let us know what you think. And other than that, I think Q&A out.
Q&A out.